Hi, I'm Pam Burrows, People Booster, and I'm so looking forward to talking to Jo-Dee and Graham about well-being for over 50s and all the fab things, my 5 fab things, which are to remind you that you are a star.
Hi, we're here with Pam Burrows today. Pam, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Jo-Dee, and how are you?
Fabulous. We're really excited about some projects that you've got coming up. So can you tell us a little bit more about you?
So for about 30 years, I've been training, speaking, running conferences, workshops, that kind of thing, and coaching sessions for individuals. And over time, that's niched into my favorite thing, which is basically how are you and how are you treating yourself and how to do that a little bit better. So it's predominantly around reducing stress, raising confidence, and helping people to be more physically and mentally and emotionally well in the world.
That is exactly what we're looking for, because we're all about emotional and mental health. Because if you have good emotional health, you can have good mental health.
Absolutely. There's no separating the things, is it really? It's just crazy. In fact, I was reading about the way that we say mind and body, which I think is a fascinating phrase, because there are brain cells in the heart and in the digestive system. So when we say body and mind, actually it is all one thing, because there's bits of brain all over the place that are tuning into, so when we say intuition and gut feeling, it's still brain that's doing that. Fascinating.
Absolutely. So I believe you got 5 tips for us.
I have. Now, the first one could be a whole day's workshop, so I'm going to have to be really careful to keep this short and sharp. But I've entitled this first tip, Know Your Drugs. So this is about understanding how you operate, you as an individual, what are your particular drugs. And by drugs, I mean hormones, neurotransmitters, the things that make you tick. So for instance, one of those is dopamine, and dopamine is the drug of anticipation and getting excited about things. So that is one of my my addictions, if you like, in terms of how drugs go. I very much like dopamine. So I get very excited about things. Sometimes by the time it actually arrives, I think I'm going to burst. Sometimes I'll go into a room, like when I get to the National PSA conference, I'm so excited by the time I get there. People like back away because they're like, oh my God, and they'll call me Tigger and things like that. So dopamine is a big one for me. So what's another one? Serotonin. Serotonin is the drug we get a burst of when we've achieved something and we go, yay, feeling good. But the craving of serotonin, or if we haven't got enough, can mean that we get overly competitive and we forget to care about the people around us or do some self-care. Chocolate and cheese are said to release serotonin, so maybe we're eating the wrong things because we're not getting our serotonin from other places. So all of this is about knowing your drugs. And then, of course, the ones that are related to the stress reaction, adrenaline and cortisol, just understanding those, how they can mess with your digestive system, your immune system, and your blood sugar levels. So if you've had a burst of adrenaline, you may then crave foods that are unhealthy for you, or you may find that your mood shifts or you become anxious. Just knowing all of those things. And if your role in life involves some adrenaline, if you're a performer in any shape or form, even if it's presenting at a team meeting, then you need to know how to handle that adrenaline. And then the other one that I wanted to end with on this particular tip, which is key for me, is oxytocin. So we've known about oxytocin for a number of years, and it's known as the love drug. So this is what we get a burst of when we're having a hug, when something lovely happens, when you watch puppies and kittens on the internet. That nice feeling is oxytocin going on. And what we know about oxytocin, it's the chemical that allows breast milk to flow when there's that loving connection between mother and child, but it happens in lots of situations. So what they now know is that you get a burst of oxytocin when you stroke your dog, But now they know that so does the dog. So the dog gets a burst of oxytocin when you're having that time, or your cat or your hamster. Well, I'm not sure about hamsters. I shouldn't overstretch the, yeah, that's nice, have a little stretch. You can even have a little, you know, if you're just on your own, you can have a little hug and get a little burst of oxytocin. And what they know is that, let's say, for instance, Jo-Dee was in the supermarket car park. She's just come out with all her shopping. The bag breaks. There's oranges rolling all around the car park. And I rush over as a complete stranger and help you to pick those up. We might laugh, we might smile, we might make eye contact. Who gets the oxytocin? We both do, because there's something that's connected us there. When you smile and give eye contact and acknowledge a good thing that's happened, you both get a burst of oxytocin. That sounds like it's already fab enough on its own. But what we know more recently, over the last few years, research into oxytocin, is that when oxytocin is released, we also get a burst of nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, that has a whole different purpose. Nitric oxide widens the blood vessels. So people who have a lot of oxytocin going on tend to have healthier hearts. So we need love. And isn't that beautifully, it kind of squares the circle when you come back to that we use the heart for Valentine's Day and for connection in a loving way. And now we know that actually that is what makes our heart healthy. There's no separation in this. So know your drugs, know the ones that you tend to get addicted to and you seek out and that send you out of balance, but also know the ones that are going to give you a lift. And, you know, this is why when you're feeling down and you feel like shutting away the world, phone a friend instead. It will just give you that little burst of oxytocin to lift your spirits and get you feeling better.
Wow, so more hugging.
Yeah, and the other
more hugging. And we are recording this on National Hugging Day. Can you?
You owe me a hug.
That's more hugging.
Good. Well, let's go on to point number 2.
Okay, so point number 2, so these fit neatly into all the things that I've been teaching for a number of years. I tried to fit them into 4 categories and then realized that the acronym I could use is CARE. So the C is for compassion, but it's not the compassion that we've just talked about, helping Jo-Dee with her fallen oranges. It's the thing that's missing, more so even than compassion for each other, is compassion towards the self. So when I see people who are burning out, who've got problems with relationships, who are getting out of balance with spending or eating, or, you know, whatever's feeling out of balance for them, it's quite often the case that what's going on inside their mind is that they're criticizing themselves, looking for things that failed or didn't get done, and just generally giving ourselves a hard time. Sometimes that's old messages. Sometimes that's something somebody once said to you and you've repeated that in your mind. That person's no longer there, but you're still feeling, you know. So my brother, for instance, is tall, skinny and clever, and so I always felt short, fat and stupid. And I realized that actually as we grew up, he wasn't saying that to me. That was the message I'd received and was repeating in my own head. So it's about taking control and responsibility for that, not blaming yourself, of course, because that would be a bit of a catch-22, but just to start and say, I can handle this. I'm doing my best. Today's a good day. I am a good person. And yeah, and this will apply to things like race and disability and gender, sexuality. It's about other people out there may have an opinion about you. That doesn't have to become your internal message. And that's the crucial thing, that whatever happens on the outside, you are kind in your mind.
So how about number 3?
Okay, so number 3 is the A of the CARE model, and it's similar to C in that it's about acknowledging why you're fabulous. So we're not just being kind in our mind and showing compassion, we're also noticing why that is. So what's going well? I use www when I'm running workshops. It gets people thinking what went well. So what are the things that might be the tiniest things? So, you know, most of the time people will celebrate big wins, very exciting news, big changes in circumstances, all that kind of thing. But what we know is that when you start to acknowledge even the little things, guess what you get? You get a little burst of serotonin.
Yep.
And of course, that serotonin then makes you feel better about who you are. And you've changed things on a chemical level to say, well done, me.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of getting to the end of the day, and maybe you had 10 things on your to-do list and you've done 5 of them, instead of beating yourself up that you didn't get 5 done, you look at the 5 you did do and go, right, I've got something to build on. When you wake up the next day, having had that burst of serotonin, you are more likely, if that's, let's say that's an even more challenging day, the following day, you've got more chance of being able to hit that day running if you've been thinking, I can do this. Look what I did yesterday.
Whoa.
So we're on to 4, and 4 is the R of the care model, and that stands for reality. Because sometimes we behave as if reality doesn't exist, as if we are superheroes, that we have endless energy and time and resources, and we can say yes to everything. So reality is, it's about time management, energy management, resource management. It's about going, okay, so I've set myself these 10 things to do. There's only 5 that's humanly possible. You know, I've got an intention to do 10 things and a need to do 10 things. It's never going to happen. And then in that way, we almost set ourselves up to fail, set ourselves up to not be able to achieve this thing, and then to be cross with ourselves and then beat ourselves up. I have an inflatable hammer that I use when I'm describing this on stage. And just realizing in the moment the difference between reality and intention. So let's say Graham says to me, Pam, can you come and mow my lawn this weekend? I've hurt my back, I can't manage it. I really like Graham. He's said lots of nice things to me today, and I would love to help him. My intention is to show Graham that I care. My intention in the world in general is to try and be a nice person and to do the right thing and to be kind and generous and helpful, compassionate. That's my intention. But I've got tons of things to do this weekend. If I squeezed in mowing the lawn, I would probably end up making myself exhausted. Then I might become ill. Then I can't do the other things I need to do. Then I'm going to start letting people down. So reality, you see how it becomes a vicious circle. So reality is about stopping in the moment, taking a deep breath, maybe even stating your intention. I would love to help, Graham. You're such a lovely person. I'd love to support you in this. At the moment, I've got tons of things to do. So this weekend, I won't be able to help. So you state your intention to help, but then you offer that, you know, actually in reality, I'm not going to be able to do this.
Okay, that brings us to 5.
Okay, so 5 is the E of the care model, and that stands for energy, which is my big thing. So I'll just tell you a very quick philosophical story about a seeker who spent a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of effort to get to the east to see the guru on the top of the mountain. They climbed up the dusty hill, they got to the guru, and they said to the guru, "What's the secret of a happy life?" The guru said, "Eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, sleep when you're tired." And that was it. And the seeker's like, "What? I've come all this way, I've spent all this money, I've climbed up the dusty hill, blah, blah, blah." And yet, we eat when we're not hungry. We don't eat when we are. We drink things that dehydrate us, and we don't drink enough water. We don't always rest when we're tired. Sometimes we rest when we're not tired. We're just kind of under the duvet going, "I don't want to do it today." And those 3 things, if they're the only things you change, will massively improve your well-being. You know, no matter how important the personal task or the work task is, there's nothing more important than restoring your energy and getting what you need.
True.
We need some water, Graham.
Well, when my teams at work, I always say health, family, work, because if you haven't got your health, you can't look after your family. If your family's not well looked after, your mind isn't on your work. So I always say health, family, work in that order.
Absolutely. And then just a little add-on to the E for energy is to find joy. You know, sometimes we have to do it on purpose because it's not going to automatically, nobody's going to book you into the theatre or gather friends for a good laugh. Sometimes we have to make that happen, and make the space for it. So that's really important to make joy. I changed my phone calendar, so anything I put in my phone calendar that is joyful, I put in yellow. So if I look in a week and there's no yellow, I know I need to plan something. Even if it's just a bonfire in the garden, I go, oh, I need some yellow in my week.
Oh, that's a really good idea, because it's so easy to do other things, hey, and not bring that joy.
Yeah, it is.
Good point.
Brilliant.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. I think we need to start doing some of them. Definitely I do.
I probably do too, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So Pam, tell us about your book.
Now, so it's Burnout Buster, discover your red flags and what to do about them. And inside you can dip in and out of it because there are 33 red flags. So you, if I just pick one at random, this one here is number 23. When you dismiss the concerns of other people who can see your energy dipping and you go, no, I'm fine. So that might be one of the signs that you're close to burnout. And actually on my website, pamburrows.com, I've got a quiz you can do to see if you're red, amber or green on the burnout risk. So that's completely free.
We can get the book on Amazon.
Yeah, the book's on Amazon. You can get the paperback like this, little one, or you can get the ebook.
Brilliant.
Wonderful. I think that's going to help. I think we need it.
You do.
I've burnt out many times. I need to learn how not to.
Yeah, brilliant. If it helps just one person, it's great.
Yes, that's good. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Such
Pam.
a pleasure.
It's great.
Wonderful.
Really good. I've learned something.
Yes, so have I. So we're good. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks for asking me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.